Hello everybody, welcome to the latest edition of the Coaching Conversation. In this series, we're aiming to help business owners, business leaders and fellow coaches by sharing our experience and the experience of our guests who've coached people all around the world in all of different sectors and industries that you can imagine. So very little more to say other than do please now sit back, relax and enjoy this edition, and look out for a special offer for our loyal audience at the end of the programme. Hello everybody and welcome to the latest edition of the Coaching Conversation. Our subject today is how to build resilience, how to maintain resilience in an executive position. I'm joined by Simone Severino, who is an expert in this area and is going to share with us everything he's learned to enable him to help people deal with resilience. Simon, welcome to the Coaching Conversation. Before we start, perhaps you could just tell the audience about yourself and how you now find yourself as a coach.
Sure, thanks for having me. Hello, everyone. I'm Simone Severino. It's 22 years now that I am in executive coaching, and the topics that I get asked about are mainly everything that touches the market. Like, Simon, how can we have a fresh approach out there with what we have to offer and what the world needs? Because the world is changing fast. And so every few years they call me and say, Simon, now our products don't really match what the people need out there. So how do we adapt? How do I change the product, the way we build it, the way we deliver it, the way we promote it? And so over the last 22 years, what the clients have pulled out of me have been questions around the market, everything around strategy, marketing strategy, sales strategy. And that's what I did. I'm also a father of 3 and a husband. I live in Vienna, Austria, and my clients are all over the globe, most of them in Los Angeles and California. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Simon. Resilience is really quite a hot topic in leadership circles these days for lots of very well-known reasons. Can you define unbreakable resilience?
If you look at people burning out around you, right? Or even yourself.
Yep.
When do we burn out? What are the elements that really matter? And you see that there are people working 90 hours per week and they don't burn out. And then there is people working 12 hours per week and they burn out. So it's not the amount of hours. What is it then? Is it the context, the toxicity of the context? Like if the context is supportive and you feel safe or not, that's a big part. Google made a data-driven survey on this, and they found out that psychological safety is a very important part. Now, it's hard for most people to grasp what it is and how to do it as a leader, but basically it means that I feel safe enough to tell what's actually going on. Like I tell the real numbers, I tell the real progress. I don't tell you a version that you want to politically hear, but I tell you really what's going on with me, with my projects, and with my work. So that's psychological safety. And there are a few elements. One is the cadence of feedback. Like, am I doing something and I don't really know if it's serving somebody? So that's one element is, if I don't know, I did this the whole week, and I don't know if it was actually helpful for somebody. Did I solve a problem for somebody? Did I create something helpful for somebody? And so the first thing is to change the 90 days feedback loops to not even monthly feedback loops, but to weekly feedback loops. So, hey, it's Monday. What matters this week? What do people need from us? Hey, it's Friday. Of all the things that we did, let's learn about that. What was actually helpful for somebody? What wasn't? And if you install these 2 loops, that's just one loop on Monday to remind ourselves what actually matters. And on Friday to learn from the week. That's solves already 80% of the burnout problems, because one of them is meaningless tasks versus meaningful task, and knowing the context, right? Let me give you an example. If you ask me, Simon, could you do a financial reporting about our CRM stages until next month? That's just a meaningless task right now. But if you tell me, Simon, next year we want to enter this new geography, I need the smartest people to help me understand really what this geography needs. Can you pull out the data from the CRM about this until next month? Now that same task has meaning for me. And so the first one, did I actually serve somebody? Second one, meaningful task, the context, having the full context of the task versus just a task. And then the third one is doing something and getting feedback immediately, ideally in real time. But the next best in large organizations to real time is every Friday. Those three things alone create meaning, service, and a feedback loop that gives you back energy, because latest on Friday you get back energy. Hey, thank you, this was helpful. You helped that person in that country. Or even it doesn't even drain you, because if your purpose and serving those people, if those two things are aligned, now it's not even draining you. And now you can go around like my yoga teacher, Sadhguru, he gives like 15 interviews per day and then goes with the bike to the next location to give another 15 interviews. And you wonder, isn't it draining for him to give so many interviews? And he gives them with his full heart and his full attention. It's not just a little script that he repeats. He is fully present 15 times. Then he goes to the next country, again 15 times fully present. You wonder, isn't it draining for you, Sadhguru? But if you watch him, it is not, because his purpose and what he's doing there are fully aligned.
It's a really interesting approach to this. And I must say, it's not something I've heard before in this context of building resilience. So it's a really, really refreshing take on the opportunity. But who would be a typical client for you, Simon?
It's business owners who right now experience that all marketing channels are broken. Every single marketing channel sucks right now. It's 2025. It's in the middle of 2025. We're in summer of 2025. And if you are a business owner, what you're experiencing right now is cold emails go to spam. You send a LinkedIn message, crickets. Ads bring you the wrong people. And so you don't want to even do that. Quizzes are boring. And so everything that used to work doesn't work anymore. And those are the people that I'm helping right now, because they say, Simon, okay, I have to approach this in a new way. We have to, instead of spamming people, we have to create trust signals. We have to start real conversations with the right people at the right time for the right reasons. And so it's three problems that we have to solve. Who are the right people? Again, back to who are we serving right now? Who are we in service to? And that's our mission, our purpose. That's the alignment piece. And the second is, okay, when should we have that conversation? We want to talk to the right people at the right moment for the right reasons. So the second problem is, maybe you want to talk to me, but I'm at the grocery store with 3 kids. If you call me now, you don't have a great chance. So the second thing is timing of that conversation. And that's more of a technical sales coaching and marketing coaching thing that we have to solve. But that's the second problem that I help solve. And the third one is for the right reason. Now, okay, what's your offer? I'm limited in time and in attention. Okay, you got my attention. You got a meeting with me. Now, what's your offer? What's the agreement? And that means we have to optimize the package of the offer, the price of the offer, and the risk of the offer. So how do we create safe conditions for the buyer to buy what they need right now at the right price?
So if you're the CEO, the business owner, facing into these challenges and getting your help, how do you help them stay resilient and focused and continue to see the opportunity rather than getting ground down?
First of all, we installed those same principles into our process. So we immediately start working with them on a weekly basis. It's 1 hour of strategizing together. Okay, let's look at this. What's broken? And what's the most important thing to fix this week? And where is the bottleneck inside of that? So if they say it's marketing, our pipeline is full with the wrong people. Okay, let's look at each part of marketing. How do you start a conversation, get them to interest, to engagement, to buying? And in each piece, we look at the bottleneck. So maybe, okay, we're getting enough attention, but then it creates a ton of interest. But from interest to engagement, we don't get them to engage. We get them to join our community, but they never post. So we know, okay, then the bottleneck is that conversion rate from interest to engagement. And then for that 7 days, from Monday to Friday, we will help them solve that one. Starting experiments, multiple parallel experiments based on our assumption. What's our assumption? Our assumption is they just want to consume content rather than share content. Okay, let's test this assumption with these 2-3 experiments. And on Friday, we will learn from that week. Oh, the assumption was wrong. Oh, yeah, the assumption was right. Let's do more of what works. And so next Monday, we will work on what worked, and we will let go of what was the wrong assumption.
And so by keeping them focused and perhaps working on the positives of the outcomes, you're helping them reflect on the positive side rather than the negative side, and therefore instilling more resilience into their own value of their own worth, the value of their own work. Is that right?
We always look at problems. So funny enough, we always look at problems. Because whenever you look at the full sales cycle from attention, interest, engagement, closing, retaining, you always look at the weakest link. So where is the problem in this? Because running a business means solving problems. We have to be very clear about this. There's always a problem. You start with a problem that somebody has and you help them solve it. And then you create a ton of internal problems. Like how do we align each other? Who does what? It's all problems. Timing problems, different time zones, different cultures, different languages. It's full of problems. Communication is a huge problem. And 80% of what we do is communication. So we're actually in a world of problems. And as an entrepreneur, you want to learn to love problems. Hey, give me the next problem. What's the next problem? Again, at the example of Sadhguru, he was solving a problem of how people can increase their energy. And now he's solving the soil problem. Hey guys, the world has a problem. If we treat our soil like that, the very foundation, the basis of our life will be threatened. So let's save soil. And he's turning around, save soil, save soil. When he solved that, I'm sure he will not rest. He will catch the next problem. Hey, we have a water problem. What about water? Water is not clean, right? Let's clean it up. And he will start that thing. So it's actually problem-based, but we learn to love the problem, to learn to being in love with solving problems. And so we want to create the conditions on Monday. We'll look at those things. Okay, let's grab the biggest problem that we have. What's the bottleneck? And then we learn to make it playful and joyful to run experiments until Friday. Everybody has ideas. Let's collect those ideas. Now, let's turn them into prototypes. Okay, build the first draft. You do that, I try this. And on Friday, we come together in an atmosphere of learning. Okay, we tried 4 things. Which one worked? This is where it gets positive. We start from the problem on Monday. We play around with it. It's exploratory, discovery-driven work, like creative teams. Even if you are in accounting or if you are in something where you identify as non-creative, it's actually a creative process. And that again gives energy and creates resilience too. And on Friday, now we look at the positives, wins of the last 7 days. Who found something that works? Oh, congrats. Oh my God, that works. And then I have a ton of sounds that I play and I say, wow, congrats, Samantha. Your experiment won this week. Congrats. You will lead next week's experiments.
Got it. So when you're working in this arena, are you working mainly one-to-one, or are you working with a group across the team?
We have different formats, right? There is one-on-one formats, but they are the same thing, right? So one-on-one is just with the CEO, and that will be the same thing on Monday. Okay, of all the things that are on your plate, you have 14 countries. In Singapore, you have this PR crisis. In London, you have this labor crisis. In the US, you have right now an inflation problem and a pricing problem. And which one do we tackle this week? So Monday, prioritizing. Then again, experiments. In this case, he will delegate the experiments, or she will delegate the experiments to teams. But then on Friday, it's the same thing. Okay, what did we learn? What worked? What didn't? And next Monday, we come clean slate again and analyze again, because things change a lot. Now, if we work with teams, now we have a particular way of putting the team together. That's a 90 days so-called strategy sprint. And we will need one person who is the ultimate decider, that usually is business owner or CEO. But then also one person that understands the clients, one person that understands the product, and one person that understands the technical side. So typically, such a team will be 4 people, CEO or business owner, if it's a smaller company, and then one person from marketing, one from sales, one from operations. So if it's a consulting company, you will have somebody that works with the client, somebody that does marketing and social media, somebody that closes deals and does key account management, and then the owner of that company.
Right.
And those 4 people will have weekly sprints, 12 weekly sprints for a cycle of 90 days.
You mentioned 90 days. So does it extend beyond 90 days, or are you done within the 90-day period?
We're done after 90 days, and we measure every 7 days. So we are not surprised about the result, because we had 12 times measurement of the progress. So we know what to expect after 90 days. We know it pretty soon. But then the 90 days should be self-sustained, self-contained, should be over after 90 days. Because when I am on the client side, I don't want to engage in a relationship that makes me dependent.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when psychoanalysis was a big thing? 4 times per week, you would go to your psychoanalyst, and on average, your psychoanalysis would be 4 years long. You would go to a modern therapist, a Jungian, who would do only 2 times per week. On average, your therapy would be 2 years long. And so you can bake dependency into the system if you want. I don't want that. I want our clients to have the smallest commitment that they need, and that in itself should create enough conditions for them to continue working. Now, some of them say, okay, we solved now the main problems, but this is actually cool. Can we hang out, guys? Can we just continue to be on this learning journey with you guys? And for that, we have a community. So sometimes after a sprint, they say, hey, can we join your community? And we have different communities. There's the Sprint Club, the 200K Club, where they hang out with people who have similar topics and similar journeys that they are on. And they are 24/7 connected to the others. We are also in there, so they can tag us and ask us. But actually, it's more peers that they need after 90 days. Because now they have those systems installed. They work. They keep on giving. And now it's just more about exchanging with the emotional side of things. Hey, my God, this has happened. How do you do this? So peers become more important after 90 days. And that's why they usually continue as a community member.
You mentioned earlier that you operate internationally. Do you find different cultures, different languages? Do they make any difference to the success rate or the style or the way in which you implement things?
Absolutely. So we have around 14 countries in the Sprint Club and in the 200K Club. And it's huge differences, right? Europe's GDP is growing much slower than the American GDP. 70% of our members are in Los Angeles. They have their own set of problems. In January, their city burned down.
Yeah.
And now they're moving fast. Europe never has urgent problems, but they are also around in a context of slowness and of bureaucracy that makes their life pretty hard. So yes, there are local differences, geographic differences, but also they all are becoming more global because they just can, right? We are all one click away from each other, actually. So it's also one huge village where those local particularities actually matter less and less because you are exposed as a business to many more geographies than just your own. So many of us in Europe, we just decide to work with Americans because they're faster and funnier, and we just work with them, right? So you can pick and choose your geography independently of where you're sitting right now as a business owner.
And do you work as a team? Have you got your own team that you work with, Simon, or is it all just you personally?
It started as Simon, and then I became the bottleneck pretty soon. And so I started adding an executive assistant very early. She is still one of the core pillars of our team. And then we started adding a little core team that does marketing, operations, and sales. And then we are very lean. The rest is really contract-based. Each year we have different needs, like people who help us with a website or a specific campaign or with upskilling some knowledge that we need. So in some years we hire people to make us better with email marketing. In some years it was, hey, help us get really good with AI. And so, but it's more project based. We're a very lean team, everybody in their own country and in their own time zone. And we're digitally connected and we communicate a lot, but it's on our phone and devices.
So we're coming to the end of this episode, and thanks very much for sharing with us exactly how to restore resilience into a business, into a team, into a worn-out executive. It's been fascinating to hear a different take on all of this and to see your energy and your enthusiasm for this. If any of the audience want to hear more, how can they reach you?
We hang out at strategysprints.com and they can try out a lot of things. We have free trials now on everything. They can come in, hang out, see the people, see the tools, see the processes, and try them out if it's something for them. So it's strategysprints.com. If they like reading, the Strategy Sprints book is out there wherever they buy books, and it's called Strategy Sprints.
Fantastic. Simon, thanks for sharing with us. And this is the end of this edition of the Coaching Conversation. So there you have it, the latest edition of the Coaching Conversation. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you found it useful, and I hope it did what it set out to do. As promised at the beginning of the programme, here is a special offer for you, our loyal audience. If you reach out to me at gwiley@sagereen.com and mention this podcast, we'll make available to you a coaching programme for you and or your team at a 50% discount. So where can you reach us? So it's definitely gwiley@sagereen.com. You can also reach us at the Executive Mindset at sagereen.com, and our website is clearly theexecutivemindset.co.uk. If you enjoyed this, do please leave us with a wonderful rating on Google. We'd really appreciate that. So nothing more for me to say now other than see you again soon.